The thing about owning a ranch passed down through 3 generations is most people assume you don't have to explain yourself. But Karen wasn't most people. I'd returned to my family's ranch after years of city life. Corporate burnout, a failed marriage, and the death of my father all collided within a year. So I packed up, quit my job, and headed back to the ranch I'd grown up on, the place where my grandfather raised cattle, where I learned to shoot a rifle before I could ride a bike. The land wasn't just legally mine, it was soul deep, and I wasn't looking to join a community. I was coming home. The property stretched over 42 acres on the outskirts of what used to be a rural town. But over the past decade, the suburbs had crept closer like ivy choking a tree. Developers had built a planned community across the main road, a beige sprawl of cul-de-sacs, flagpoles, and enforced lawn heights. With it came an HOA, and with that HOA came Karen. I didn't know her name at first, just a minivan that parked half on, half off the asphalt. The way she stared at my fence when she passed. The way she slowed to a crawl when my dogs barked. Then came a first letter, typed, formatted like an official notice, folded twice and taped to my front gate. It read, "To whom it may concern, it has come to our attention that a person is currently inhabiting the property at my address without community approval. This land is part of the Crosswinds Ranch Estates Homeowners Association. Please provide proof of ownership and residency or vacate within 14 days. I laughed. It wasn't just incorrect, it was absurd. My land predated the HOA by over 70 years. There had never been a discussion, annexation, or merger. Legally, I was about as outside their jurisdiction as the moon, so I ignored it. That was my mistake. A week later, I was fixing a section of barbed wire when I heard gravel crunching behind me. I turned to find 2 police officers stepping out of their cruiser. "Afternoon," one said. "We got a report of someone trespassing here." "You're looking at the owner," I said, brushing dust off my gloves. They asked for ID, which I provided. I even walked them to the house and showed them the title, still framed in the den since my grandfather hung it in 1956. They apologized, said they were just responding to a call, and left. I thought that would be the end of it. It wasn't. Over the next 2 weeks, Karen escalated. She filed another complaint, this time accusing me of illegally harboring livestock. My goats. Then came noise complaints about my generator, my dogs, even my hammering. She claimed my shed was an unauthorized structure, that I was dumping waste in the creek. Each time, I responded with documentation. Each time, the sheriff's office sighed, nodded, and left. Until one morning, I woke up to find an official-looking eviction notice stapled to my barn door. It wasn't signed by a court. It wasn't issued by law enforcement. It had the Crosswinds HOA logo in the corner and a forged cease and desist order. I snapped. I contacted a lawyer, a local guy who'd grown up in town and knew every inch of zoning law. Within 48 hours, we had a file thick enough to sink a canoe, complete with title history, tax records, HOA boundaries, and a cease and desist order of our own. But we weren't done. I installed motion sensor cameras on every gate. I documented every dog bark, every power tool sound, every harmless event that triggered a complaint. Then I baited her. I posted a public notice on the neighborhood board that read, "Family-owned ranch property will host a weekend livestock auction. Please note, we are not affiliated with Crosswinds HOA, and the event is entirely within private jurisdiction." Karen couldn't help herself. She arrived the morning of the event in full HOA regalia, clipboard, printed bylaws, even a plastic name tag that said Karen, HOA Compliance Chair. She marched up the driveway, arms swinging, jaw clenched. "I'm issuing a final warning," she snapped. "This is an unauthorized use of land. You are violating community policy." I let her speak. Then I gestured to the sheriff's deputy, standing just behind the feed truck. "Ma'am," he said, "you're trespassing. This land isn't under HOA jurisdiction. You've been warned multiple times." Karen exploded. She screamed about property lines, about the sanctity of residential order. She tried to grab my phone when I recorded her ranting. She called me a squatter again. Then she turned to the deputy and said, "Are you just going to let him steal from the community?" She was arrested on the spot for harassment, filing false reports, and impersonating a legal authority. Turns out, that fake eviction notice had crossed a serious legal line. She was fined, issued a restraining order, and removed from the HOA board in a unanimous vote. The same neighbors who once quietly agreed with her began leaving baked goods at my gate with notes that read, "Sorry we didn't say anything sooner." As for me, I added a swing to the old oak in the front pasture. Put up a hand-painted sign, "Welcome to the real ranch." Sometimes I sit on the porch with my coffee and watch as the HOA patrol drives by a little faster now, windows rolled up, Karen's seat noticeably empty. Because some land doesn't bend. And some people, no matter how loud, eventually fall silent. The ranch doesn't shout. It waits. And this time, it waited long enough for karma to speak.